Lay him on a corner. There's more in the office.
Welcome in again, everybody. Time for Goats and Dairy. As far as shows go, the final shows that we broadcast each year.
The dairy show for the Custer County Fair. We'll call first call for senior showmanship, and we'll get started in a little bit.
Okay, so schedule this afternoon looks like this. 1 o'clock scheduled starting time for 4-H Goat Show, followed by the FFA Goat Show in the arena that you are seeing on your screen right now. 1 o'clock, also the start of the 4-H Dairy Cattle Show. We'll try to give you some angles of that as well with this camera here, as well as this camera here. So we're going to get busy with 2 different locations. We've got cameras all over the place to try to pass things along to you. Here's our remote camera for the goat ring to give you a different angle kind of facing us. You can kind of see me up in the corner there, waving my hand, top left corner. Everyone kind of jockeying for position to see where they want to sit to be able to see both sides here this afternoon. Again, 4-H dairy cattle and 4-H goats both starting here shortly at 1 p.m. As we get started with another stream this afternoon on our Wednesday, we want to thank our Purple Ribbon sponsors, bringing you coverage not only here on the video stream but also on radio as well. Over 100 interviews and reports conducted this year on KCNI Pure Country. Brought to you by Custer Public Power District, Agri Affiliates, Full Circle Irrigation, Myers Iron Salvage and Roll-Offs, Adams Land and Cattle, Lashley Land and Recreational Brokers, Moline Seed and Fence, Trotter Service and Trotter Fertilizer, the Grocery Cart and Broken Bow, the Custer County Ag Society, Pearson Physical Therapy, Nebraska State Bank, Healing Hearts and Families, and A1 Auto Repair.
Been judging here several years and was appreciated.
Okay, so as you see on your screen, the 4-H Dairy Show has begun. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll also juggle and keep an eye on the 4-H Goat Show.
Welcome to the 2023 Goat Show, combination of the dairy goats and the meat goats. We'll start with the showmanship, with senior showmanship today. And in showmanship, for seniors, and you'll enter the ring and then start to circle. Callie Harris and Mahia Jones, Lainey Palmer, Lorena Shada, and Keegan Watoon, and Keelan Watoon.
Haley Rosiski over in senior showmanship on the dairy cattle side. And as you just heard, entering the ring for the goat show,
Our
it's going to be
judge today
senior
for the
goat
goats
showmanship.
Is Sarah Dilly. She grew up raising sheep and goats in Lincoln, and showed goats and sheep for 10 years in 4-H in the Lancaster County area. Currently, she's a senior at UNL studying animal science. She's also currently a member of the UNL livestock judging team. This past spring, she received a third high individual score at the Houston Livestock Judging Contest. Welcome, Sarah.
In this senior goat showmanship, Group 1, Callie Harris, Mahia Jones, Emerson Palmer, Lainey Palmer, Lorena Shada, Kagan Watoon, and Kaylin Watoon. See some of them on your screen there.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, I only have one young lady in the senior showmanship today. Then definitely knows what she's doing, and we'll definitely award her the champion today. Really like how she handles the calf, keeps that head straight in line with the body, just keeps that calf walking nicely and smooth, sets up the animal very well. But, you know, it just, young showmen, you know, watch how she holds that head straight with the body. So it's just, it makes the animal look straight and correct throughout. Very nice job.
And again, that is Haley Rosiski, who is your champion senior showman in dairy.
Haley Rosiski received a purple and grand champion senior showman. We will now be entering the junior showmanship members.
Okay, as you heard there, junior showmanship starting on the dairy side. Back over to the goat side on your screen. Still in senior goat showmanship here. Those are kids ages 14 and older as of January 1st. Junior showmanship entering on the dairy side. That would be Sophia Williams, Griffin Bellinger, and Pearl Williams. 3 entries in the junior showmanship division. Those kids 8 to 11 years of age and older as of January 1st. Again, judge moving around, seeing how all the showmen position themselves to best show off their goat. Eye contact, very important. Keeping that head up, same as we've seen in other animal entries, also very important. So you see them across your top part of your screen there. Sorry about that, hit the wrong button. And we will hear from the judge.
Well, let's give these seniors a round of applause. They're all doing an excellent job out here getting these goats shown here in senior showmanship. What a great way to start the day. I think showmanship has always been one of my favorite aspects of this showing deal that we all do. I think it's true testament to the work that these kids put in at home with their livestock and getting them stuck and getting them shown right. So they're all doing an excellent, excellent job. For you juniors and pre-juniors ringside, take note of watching the senior drive when you get out to your shows, because I think it's super important to be able to watch those that have done this longer than you and those that have a little bit more experience than you and just mimic what they're doing, because there's some really talented individuals out here and I think we can all learn a lot. So just something to keep in mind for the future. But when it comes to picking your Grand and Reserve here, we're gonna do 3 purples and 3 blues. 3 on this side will be my purples and 3 blues on that side will be my, 3 on this side will be my purples, 3 on that side will be my blues. I think just some differences in terms of getting those feet and legs stuck right, getting those goats braced. It's really important now that we're getting the goats looking better here as the goat industry progresses, that we get those things driven hard, and that way when I go to handle, they're nice and firm. And I think the 3 on this side just do that to a little bit better degree. In terms of picking a 1 and a 2 for you, I think there's a couple that I just prefer the way they have their hand placement and get those heads worked on that goat, and the way that they're getting those legs set right, moving around the ring with the most fluidity. Let's give these kids one more round of applause, and I'll go show you your Grand and Reserve. Great job to these guys.
All right, and your grand champion will be Mahia Jones. And you see your reserve champion there getting a handshake as well. Has either Kagan or Kellen Wittoon. So they're standing next to each other and look very similar. That would be Kagan Wittoon is your reserve champion.
The banner for senior goat showmanship.
Let's check on junior showmanship on the dairy show side. You see your picture there. That would be Sophia Williams, Griffin Bellinger, and Pearl Williams competing there in junior showmanship for dairy. Up next in junior goat showmanship, just being introduced over the loudspeaker, I'll do the same for you here, is Hayden Kristen, Colby Eggleston, Mesa Jones, Traven Shada, and Peyton Williams. All going to be making their way in on the right-hand side of your screen here shortly as the judge waits. And they're set up right there on that one corner. I have to stretch to get an angle on. Again, this is junior goat showmanship. Junior showmanship for dairy cattle also going on the far side of the arena over there. Again, that's always our biggest stretch as far as videoing the dairy cattle. Normally kind of a staging area for most of the shows. Kind of offers us our biggest challenge to get on the air. But that is Sophia Williams, Griffin Bellinger, and Pearl Williams you are seeing there. Steve Wolf is the dairy show judge again this year. He's done it for several years. Junior goat showmanship going on your screen right now. Apologize for the bright picture, folks. The sun comes out and makes it very hard for the camera to adjust and know what it wants to do. Focus on the sun inside or the ring on the outside.
Out here. I can tell some of them have put into practice what I mentioned in the first class, and that's awesome. I love seeing kids when they maybe adapt a little bit based on what the judge is preferring. And I think there's 3 out here in front that are going to be my purples today, and then 2 blues with the young men. But I think all of them are doing an excellent job. Just the 3 girls in the front just sorted themselves up a little bit again in terms of getting those goats presented right, and a few different styles, as we can see here, differently in the way that these goats are getting presented. But at the end of the day, whether you have a dairy goat or a breeding doe or a market animal, I want to see you presenting that goat to the best of its ability and getting it to look the part in the way that it needs to. And I think these 3 young ladies did a really, really excellent job. There's an individual that I'm going to go ahead and use for grand champion, and she just hit me pretty hard when she entered the ring. She had a very intense personality about her, and I knew she was in here to win, and always had that goat looking right and getting that one stuck. And the one that's going to follow, I think, does that just as well, just maybe not quite as intense, maybe not quite as efficient in getting that goat set up in the way that she works around that animal, but still very, very high quality set of intermediates. Let's please give them a hand, and I'll show you your grand and reserve.
The junior showmanship, goat showmanship, is banner is sponsored by, again, Judy and Johnny Sykes of Anselmo with their Kiko goats. They both have meat goats and registered and percentage. Next up in the ring will be pre-junior.
Mesa Jones is your champion. Your reserve champion is Hayden Kristen. Also receiving a purple is Colby Eggleston. Draven Shada and Peyton Williams both receiving blue ribbons. Junior showmanship for the dairy show continues on your screen there. Sophia Williams, Griffin Bellinger, and Pearl Williams. Pre-junior showmanship again going on your screen there on the goat side of things. Mason Beamerwald, Brecken Doggett, Olivia Doggett, Cora Rosentrader, Quinn Rosentrader, and Garrett Williams. All 8 to 10 years of age as of January 1st of this year being judged on their showmanship. Again, to recap, junior goat showman champion was Mesa Jones. Reserve champion, Hayden Christen, as we'll hear from the dairy side.
Really good junior dairy showmen out here. Let's give them all a round of applause. They're doing a great job. We're going to start with this young man here that has just a little bit more experience, I think, in showing. He does a much better job of keeping that head high and straight. And we kind of talked about that with these girls. He does a little bit better job of getting their legs set up. Not a lot, and he's a little bit more attentive to me. The two young ladies in second and third done a very good job first show, so they really controlled their animals well, and they know how to set them up. We kind of worked on getting there a little bit more and doing a little more switching, but they done a great job. Just like to see them watch me just a little bit more, but definitely coming on and going to be strong showmen one day.
So that would be Griffin Bellinger as your champion. We'll find out which of the two girls, Pearl or Sophia, is your reserve champion in junior dairy showmanship.
For junior showmanship, Griffin Bellinger from Tail Twisters was our champion. Our reserve champion was Sophia Williams for Four Corners 4-H Club. And third place blue was Pearl Williams from Four Corners 4-H Club.
Okay, there you have it. Sophia Williams is your reserve champion junior showman. As back here on the goat side, taking a look at pre-junior goat showmanship at the moment.
Calves born from March 1st to April 30th of this year. First call for winter calf class.
Impressed by this set of junior showmen. Please give them a round of applause. The intensity of this group is pretty tremendous. I think probably some of the best eye contact of all the groups I've seen today, so that's really awesome to see. The young ladies that I left on the rail are going to be your purples today, and the two individuals there will be the blues. I think, again, just in terms of junior showmanship, you know, this is a young age group that we're just looking to cover the basics and get those goats moving around the ring and get those legs set to the best that we can, and I think all of these individuals are doing a great job. Just a little bit higher level here along the rail. I think these girls are doing a great job getting those goats braced when they need to be braced, and getting those feet set where they need to be. I'm going to go ahead and use an individual that I think just was the most intense in terms of the way she got out around the ring. When I went to handle that goat, she had that thing driven as hard as she could, and I think she does an excellent job keeping that head up, getting the legs stuck where they need to be. The one in reserve, I think, does so as well, just maybe not quite as high level. Sometimes maybe doesn't have that goat driving as hard as I'd like. Doesn't get that one going quite as well around the ring, but still a really excellent set of showmen. Please give them a round of applause, and I'll show you your grand in reserve.
So we'll get you the names of your pre-junior goat showman champion and reserve champion. They are the two on the ends that I can't see with any of my camera angles or with my eyes. And their backs are turned, so we'll catch those when they turn around. Olivia Doggett is your champion.
Congratulations, pre-juniors. The next class up will be the champion showman with senior, junior, and pre-junior all in the ring at the same time. The judge and the ring person here will get you lined up accordingly. So champion and reserve of seniors, Mahia and Keegan. And a champion reserve of juniors, Mesa and Hayden. And then these two here.
That would be Olivia Doggett, the champion from pre-junior showmanship, and the reserve champion from pre-junior showmanship, Gwen Rosentrader. So they'll all come back in. Over here on this other side, you are seeing the dairy class spring calves.
Individuals out here. Got a little difference in ages in this calf. We got a full age calf, this March calf, and the other two calves are middle April, so they're about 6 weeks difference. So there is a lot of size difference, but they will catch up. But to me, it's not as much the size that gets this young man with his calf on top. He's just walks on a little better set of feet and legs, a little straighter across the top line, and a lot more spring of rib, and a little cleaner through those shoulders, and a little longer, leaner neck is what gets him to rise to the top. Our individual here in second, you just like the way she moves a little bit better than the calf in third. These two are really close, a little bit more spring of rib, a little bit more depth, a little more correct on those rear legs. Would like to clean her up a little bit, and they do give the advantage of the dairy character to the calf in third today. But three real nice calves, all awarded a purple ribbon.
Okay, so as you heard there, purple ribbon for all three. Griffin Bellinger in first.
Elite showmanship contest tomorrow, and the individual will also show a swine, a sheep, and a beef. So they'll compete. All four species will compete together, and they will also take a test. So that'll be new this year. So again, the champion will compete tomorrow at 11:30. So everybody come back and watch that.
So what you're seeing right there on the row closest to us is the champions from senior, junior, and pre-junior. Then along the back row is the reserve champion from each of those same categories. Again, still in showmanship, all about presenting your goat, maintaining eye contact, turning correctly, keeping that head up. And already we have seen a couple of times with different animals so far this year. Hasn't necessarily been the champion from senior and the champion from junior that get overall and overall reserve. We've had a couple of pre-juniors so far this Custer County Fair wrangle in some wins.
individual. You like her dariness throughout, her long, lean neck, clean through those shoulders, and carries out back through the hooks and pins. Just a very clean animal. Maybe like to strengthen her a little bit more in those pins, getting her raised up just a little bit. But an individual that walks well, walks straight, and shows a lot of promise.
And again, that was the Winter Calves Dairy class. Haley Rosiski will receive a purple as the sole entry there. And we will find out now who our overall and overall reserve champion in goat showmanship are.
Well, I'm extremely pleased with the group that we've got out here for our grand drive, and I think each one of these kids are out here for a reason, so let's give them a hand. It's very apparent that each one of these individuals have done the work at home, gotten those goats broke, gotten them ready to go, and taken really good care of them this summer, and the way that they're getting them presented is excellent. I think there's two individuals that soared up for me just in terms of intensity and the way that they get around the ring and getting those goats shown to the best of their ability at all times. The one that I'm going to go ahead and use for Grant, I don't think there was too many times when she had a foot out of place. Her eye contact was impeccable, very, very intense. You can tell she's out here to win. She wants to do this, and she wants to do it well. The one in reserve, I think, does so as well. Just maybe had a few more troubles getting those feet and legs set where they need to be. Towards the end, her doe wanted to start giving up on her a little bit, but I think she did very well in managing that. And all 6 of these individuals did an excellent job. Please give them one more round of applause.
Okay, so we'll now see who your overall grand champion is, and it is Mahia Jones. And Mesa Jones is your overall reserve champion in goat showmanship. Congratulations to Mahia and Mesa.
So as it turns out, Mahia won, which is fantastic, and she will actually represent the beef tomorrow. So Mesa will be representing the goats. So congratulations, girls.
And if you remember back to beef yesterday, Mahia is representing beef because Abby Stahlbommer had won the previous year. So Mahia staying busy, would obviously unable to represent in showmanship with 2 different animals. So Mesa will represent goats at the Elite Showmanship show tomorrow. Again, we've got more dairy cattle over on the other side of the ring. Haley Rosiski had a winter calf as a single entry, also had a aged cow as a single entry. See 3 out there at the moment. This might be the junior champion of all breeds or grand champion of all breeds. Let's listen in.
That would be the first and second place animals of their classes.
Kind of caught the tail end of that, but again, I believe this is the determining of champion and reserve champion of all breeds going on over there on the dairy side. Here on the goat side, we're starting with dairy goats, 5 months to 8 months. Garrett Williams and Peyton Williams out there. I'll work to get a shot of that for you. Garrett Williams and Peyton Williams out there. Upcoming dairy goats, 1 year to 2 years, non-milking doe. Mesa Jones, a single entry there. Then we'll determine a grand champion and reserve champion in dairy doe.
here to start off our dairy show. Two high-quality entries that I think really set a standard for dairy quality. The one on my right here will go ahead and be your first place in this class. I think that one just puts the pieces together the best in terms of her femininity. I love her neck attachment out of the top side of her shoulder, transitions back to a wider pin set, and hits the surface on a pretty stout foot and bone. And the individual to my left will also receive a purple ribbon. I think that one, again, another really high-quality entry, just maybe a little bit rounder out of her hip. Doesn't hit the surface with as much power. I think that one just needs a little bit more time, but still would be really excited to see these two does grow and see what they can do down the road. Congratulations to these kids.
In our junior champion here, these exhibitors have done a very, very nice job in presenting these animals really well. So we got two spring calves, and then we've got a winter calf here. So, what I look at is I'm trying to figure out which one can, go and compete with animals their own age and size on down the road to districts and state shows. And to me today, that's going to be this fall calf. So if you want to lead her out, no, spring calf. Maybe I can get my classes straight here in a few minutes. You just like how this animal has that ability to walk uphill, nice straight and straight across the top line, clean throughout. Maybe could give this calf a little bit more depth, but for a March calf, she's really starting to come down well. And then our reserve today will be the winter calf, if you want to lead her out. And she just not quite has that width throughout for me to stand with this spring calf. I just like the width, especially when we get back to those hooks and pins and just a little bit straighter over the top line. And the individual just does not quite track quite as well. And then our second place spring calf will be the honorable mention. Just a nice strong calf. You just love the strength and the width throughout. So three nice individuals.
In the ring for the goats is the non-milking 1 year and under 2 years. It is Mesa Jones, and they're already done judging.
So
really nice single entry here in our doe division, and I think this young lady's doing an excellent job getting this one presented. I think this one really sets a standard for that La Mancha breed. She's super cool from the side. I love the way that she patterns and proportions, gets around the ring with plenty of flexibility. Would like to shorten her up a little bit there in her shoulder blade, make her a little bit more blown apart in her chest floor, but I think overall a really, really high quality doe that I'd be excited to see what she can do down the road. Let's give this young lady a hand.
Okay, so
Our
Mesa
next class
Jones.
is an aged cow coming in, and for our junior champion animal winner was Griffin Bellinger with his spring calf, and reserve champion junior animal was with Haley Rosiski with her winter calf. And thank you to our sponsors for the Custer Dairy Herd Improvement Association.
As you heard there, it was Griffin Bellinger with his spring calf as your junior champion of all breeds. And your reserve champion of all breeds was Haley Rosiski, her winter calf. Now bringing in what I think is one of my favorite animals is the aged cow. Just shows how big and strong they grow very, very quickly. This cow, born between September 1st, 2020 to August 31st, 2021. So in the whole grand scheme of things, not very old. Haley out there showing it. Back over to the other side, we bring in all three dairy goats to show against each other and determine a grand champion and reserve champion in dairy does. On the junior side,
The different breeds out here in our junior dairy drive, and I think all three of them have parts and pieces that I really like. There's two that I'm going to go ahead and use for Grand and Reserve that I think just surface up a little bit more in terms of quality, in terms of their femininity and feature. The one that's going to go ahead and win, I think, just has a little bit more advantage in terms of some extra maturity, a little bit more width in her pin set, hits the surface on a stouter foot and bone, but nothing to take away from my Reserve. I think that one lines out really cool from the side, just maybe not quite as big outline, a little bit narrower in the way that she's constructed, but three really nice entries. Please give them a hand.
Your champion will be Mesa Jones. Your reserve champion will be Garrett Williams.
One entry today in the age cow class, just a beautiful, big, strong, powerful cow. You just love the height of this individual at the withers and carries throughout. A lot of width, hooks and pins, very wide. Cow that's starting to get a little stale, getting closer to going dry. So, you know, you could falter a little bit for her dairy character, but it's just the stage of lactation she's in. Just a beautiful, beautiful cow. You just love the height and width in that rear udder, and you love the smooth and the flatness throughout the floor of the udder. Just and a lot of depthness and just a very, very correct cow.
Up in the ring now for the dairy goats is the moving over to the senior division. These goats have all had a batch of kids, so at least one birthing. And in the ring is Mesa Jones, and her goat is under 2 years old and milking.
Now we will be selecting our junior or our grand champion and reserve champion. And those sponsors are Broken Book.
Okay, so on the kind of trying to keep the announcers straight for you, as they've got two announcers, one for dairy, one for goats. That second announcement you heard there was for dairy. They are choosing their grand champion and their reserve champion of all breeds. So they're going to bring in Griffin Bellinger, Haley Rosiski, and then I believe Haley Rosiski also entered in there with the aged cow as well.
Received a purple.
And now we'll hear from the goat judge.
Single entry here as we get into some of these does that are coming to us in our working clothes. I think this one is a really high quality entry, and she'll go ahead and receive a purple ribbon. I really appreciate this one for the way she's so feminine up front, really good in her wedge progression up high when I get my hands on her. Would like to fix her there in her top. She wants to break a little bit behind her shoulder and tie her a little bit higher out of the top side of her blade, but really nice high quality entry for this lady. Let's give her a hand.
So receiving a purple is Mesa Jones. 2 to 3 year old and older, milking doe. Coming into the ring now, Peyton Williams, you see there. Then between Mesa and Peyton, since they were both single entries, we will determine a grand champion and reserve champion in senior dairy doe, and then we will bring in the juniors and determine an overall champion dairy doe and an overall reserve champion dairy doe.
For grand champion today, for me, it's a pretty easy choice. We'll go with the aged cow. You just got a cow here. You usually like to have a cow for the overall champion, and you got a cow here. It's very worthy of it. I just can't talk enough about the strength of this cow and the width throughout and the depthness. Just a very nice individual. And then we'll go with our March calf, our spring calf that was the junior champion, which we've kind of already placed these two. But just two more individuals that have got a way to go, and they'll hopefully follow the steps of this old cow and get there one day. But two nice individuals.
So Haley Rosiski is the grand champion of all breeds. Reserve champion of all breeds is Griffin Bellinger. on the dairy side. And according to what I have in front of me, that will wrap up the dairy show. For 4-H.
Was our H-Cow by Haley Rosiski, and the reserve champion was Griffin Bellinger with his spring calf. We'll take a short break and then start with the FFA show, so if we have any FFA ag instructors that would like to come watch or help, please join us.
Over here in the goat ring, the young man's doing an excellent job getting this doe presented. You know, these things are getting tired. They've been at the fair for a while. They don't always want to cooperate the best, and they're also goats, and we all know that goats can be stubborn. So hand to him. He's doing an excellent job getting this one set up. But I think a really nice single entry again here in terms of our age division. Really nice Nubian to represent that breed for us. I think this one certainly has plenty of substance and hits the surface on a massive foot and bone. Really appreciate how big outline she is. No doubt she'll be plenty productive down the road. Would like to fix her again in her top there. Just gets a little bit weak in terms of the way she handles herself and maybe reconstruct her hip and hind leg posture just a tick, but still a really nice doe. Good job, young man.
Next class in will be the senior showman. So the two goats will be back in here for the milking ones.
Well, the numbers were small here in our age doe division, but certainly not the quality. I think two really nice does out here. Individuals are getting a great job getting them shown. Certainly different in their type and kind. The young ladies comes to us a little bit more feminine, more refined in her angles and the way she gets out and moves. And the young man certainly has one that's full of plenty of power and substance. I think for me today, I'm going to go ahead and sort up the skeletal quality of the young lady on my left. That will be your champion. I think that one just hits me as the most complete in terms of the way she patterns up, has a little bit more width to the surface. Nothing to take away from the young man. I really appreciate how powerful that one is and how much she has to bring to the table in terms of substance and body. Let's give these kids a round of applause.
So
Up
Mesa
next will be
Jones
the
in
overall dairy.
So Mesa Jones in senior dairy will be the grand champion, and Peyton Williams will be the reserve champion. They will both stay out there. Now Mesa is going to have some help here, as Mesa also has the grand champion junior dairy doe, and Garrett Williams will also come back in, and they will compete for overall. After we are wrapped up with dairy goats, we'll move on to meat goat classes. Market does will be first, 50 to 56 pounds. Hayden Kristen and Olivia Doggett competing there. Then 65 pounds, Colby Eggleston. 76 to 78 is Lainey Palmer and Brecken Doggett, before we crown a champion and reserve champion market doe. Then we'll continue on with wethers. 8 different groups there, going up to 121 pounds as low as 51 pounds. Then we'll have a champion market wether and reserve champion. And then we will bring in the market does and compete for overall grand champion market. And then meat goat breeding classes. And then the best dressed kid competition, dairy goat and meat goat class. It is what you think it is. They dress up the goats and compete for a best dressed contest. Again, Mesa Jones out there with 2 entries. Garrett Williams and Peyton Williams out there with their entries as well.
Well, please put your hands together for these 4 individuals out here with their dairy goats. They certainly brought us a very high quality set for our dairy show. I think 4 different types and kinds in terms of what we have represented out here. Obviously some different breeds, but I think there's 2 for me that I'm going to go ahead and sort up that just hit me as the most feminine in their type and kind. I think they put the pieces together from a skeleton standpoint the best. The one that's going to go ahead and win, just a little bit more feminine the way she's put together. Maybe not the best in some areas in terms of her spine. I think the reserve actually corrects her in that regard, but still I think that one is wider in her pin set, hits the surface with a little bit more dimension and power. Nothing to take away from that reserve, though. I think that one comes with plenty of body and substance, just maybe not quite as feminine. Doesn't pattern up as pretty from the side. Really, really nice set of does out here. Let's give these kids a round of applause, and I'll give you your granding reserve.
So your grand champion and your reserve champion are both going to be Mesa Jones. I believe Mahea out there just helping Mesa out, since she had the grand champion junior and the grand champion senior. But we'll hear the announcement to confirm that.
That finished the dairy goat judging competition, and we will move on to the meat goat division. Starting with that in your program, we have the does. Market does will be first. Coming into the ring will be the 50 to 56 pound, and our market weight is from 50 to 100. So this is the 50 to 56, Hayden Kristen and Olivia Doggett.
Meanwhile, over on the other side, we've got the FFA Dairy Show, which has started. 1 entry in dairy showmanship. That is Haley Rosiski.
Hayden Kristen, correct? And Olivia Doggett. Come in.
And then there will be a dairy cattle FFA show as well. A spring heifer calf shown by Haley Rosiski, and an aged cow shown by Haley Rosiski, also in FFA. So I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that Haley Rosiski is going to be your champion showman in FFA dairy showmanship. She's also going to take the championship in dairy cattle for FFA and the reserve championship for FFA. So 3 entries and 3 ribbons for Haley today.
Following this first class of market goats, does will be the next one will be Colby Eggleston with his goat, number 2170.
Okay, for our FFA contest today in the dairy division, we only got one individual and one cast, so we've done showmanship and done the champion calf at the same time. We got a nice little A-share calf here that, you know, it's kind of sad that she doesn't have any competition because she could sure handle some. You just love the correctness throughout, that rear rib, depthness in that rear rib. Flat, you know, very flat from the hooks and pins, and just that long, lean neck, and walks on a very good set of feet and legs. So an animal that's very worthy of being champion today, and then an individual young lady here is very worthy of being champion for the showmanship.
Again, that's Haley Rosiski for the FFA side of showmanship. Single entry there. Right now on the goat side, down on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you're looking at Hayden Kristen and Olivia Doggett. Again, this is the first class of market does, 50 to 56 pounds. Hayden Kristen and Olivia Doggett out there. Want to thank Custer Public Power District, keeping your light shining bright. Nebraska is still the only state in the U.S. that's served by 100% public power. Custer Public Power proudly serving Custer County and beyond, locally owned and governed by you. Thank you as well to Agri Affiliates. Established in 1985, Agri Affiliates Incorporated is employee-owned with headquarters at North Platte, offices in Kearney, Hastings, Arnold, and McCook. Soon they will have an office in Broken Bow providing quality, detailed real estate appraisals, modern, sophisticated property management, and the highest level of real estate sales.
Vision, because I certainly think that they could play on both sides. The 2 that we have out here could certainly go home and be breeding pieces as well. But 2 purple ribbons today. I think the one on my right is going to go ahead and start. That one just hit me as a little bit bolder in her rib cage. I get my hands on that one. She's a little bit more expansive up high, maintains that width through to her pin set and hits the surface on a really stout foot and bone. Paints a really nice picture from the side. Nice one for that young lady to start. The one that's going to go ahead and be second, I actually really like on the profile as well. That one's put together really well in terms of her skeleton. Just when you step off either end, she wants to funnel to the surface a little bit too much for me. Gets a little bit flat in her forerib, a little bit flatter sided. Still a really nice doe. Let's give these girls a round of applause.
Next in the arena should be the single entry of Colby Eggleston with her doe, market doe with a 65-pounder. Next class in the arena for goats, market goats. Market does will be 76 to 78 pounders with Lainey Palmer and Brecken Doggett.
Really nice single entry here in our middleweight for the does, and I think this one's going to go ahead and receive a purple ribbon pretty easily for me. Certainly speaks power when you get your hands on her. She's plenty big racked and maintains that through her pin set. Would like to change her in her front end assembly just a little bit there. She starts to push forward in her breastplate. Like to tie her a little bit higher out of the top side of her blade, but still a really nice entry for this young lady. Let's give her a hand.
So as a single entry, Colby Eggleston will come back and compete in the champion and reserve champion market doe category.
Next
coming
in the
up
arena,
soon.
like I said, is Lainey Palmer and Brecken Doggett with their does 76 to 78 pounds.
Market doe 76 to 78 pounds, as you just heard there, entering your screen.
Division. I think two that are similar in their type and kind, and for me, I'm going to go ahead and sort up the skeletal advantages that come with the red doe. I think that one from the side just patterns the best in terms of her angles, lines out with the best in terms of her wedge shape to her rear rib and flank there, and the young lady does an excellent job getting that one stuck. The one behind her, I think, certainly matches in terms of power, just maybe from a skeletal standpoint, gets a little bit off behind her shoulder, wants to run out of her hip. I think that one's just a little bit coarser made and a little bit too soft to the touch for me today, but really nice set of does. Let's give them a hand.
Next class will be the overall market doe. Those does would be come right back in here. Set them up to first and second, I believe. Olivia Doggett, and goat 23008. Hayden Kristen, 6422. Colby, if you pair them up where you read in class, that would be great. Colby Eggleston with 2170. And then Lainey Palmer and Brecken. Lainey Palmer with 2130 and Brecken with Doggett with 23003. She's having you set them up first and second accordingly.
Again, we are determining champion market doe and reserve champion. 5 entries out there because I believe each has received purple so far, and there were only 5 total market does between the 3 different classes that came out. First place from each of the 3 classes in the front, second place from each of the classes in the back.
Well, please put your hands together for these individuals out here with their does. I think they're doing an excellent job. If this speaks to the quality of our weather show, I'm certainly excited. I think there's 5 really, really nice representations of market does out here. There's a pair of them for me that sort up just in terms of a little bit extra maturity and size. Got some weight advantages, just a little bit more product on top when I get my hands on them. Some differences there for my Grand and Reserve in terms of skeletal design, but I think a really nice pair to go ahead and win this division. Please put your hands together one more time, and I'll show you my Grand and my Reserve.
So your grand champion is going to be Brecken Doggett. And we'll get the back number of your reserve champion here in a moment when she turns her back. That would be Lainey Palmer, Sand Hill Critters. So now we will move forward to market weathers. We'll start with a single entry of 50 to 54 pounds. Then we'll have 4 entries in 62 to 65 pounds, 4 entries in 66 to 69 pounds, and we'll move on forward, determine a champion market weather and reserve champion, and then we will bring out the champion and reserve champion does that were just named. They will compete against the weathers for overall grand champion and overall reserve champion in market.
Here to start off our market weather show, and in terms of size and weight, this one's certainly got a lot of feedability, and I think I really appreciate this one in terms of his skeleton. It's hard to make goats with that level of a top, and I think that one gets around the ring with so much flexibility. Maybe a little bit flat and narrow from behind, but like I said again, I think that comes from maybe just a little bit of immaturity. Certainly be excited to see how that one feeds out down the road. Put your hands together for this young lady.
Next class in the ring will be market weather, 62 to 65 pounds, very close. Olivia Doggett with number 21067. Hayden Kristen with 6417. Mahia Jones with 990. And Keelan Watoon with 991. Next class in the arena will be the Weather 66 to 69 pounds. Cora Rosentrader with 2097. Traven Shada with 0015. Brecken Doggett with 21066. And Lorena Shada with 0021.
One of these things. So that kind of became a game. Who was the most intimidating? I came around to them more usually a bunch of people are tuned out. Yeah, but I mean, the fact that it was there, well, we got done. Walked up to it and said, apparently shot it from the yesterday too.
Really nice set of weathers here for our market show, and I think it's fun as they start getting into these heavier weights to see how these things start to feed out. And the one on my far right here is going to go ahead and win this class. It does so pretty handily. You get on top of that one, it is massive back, huge rack, transitions into a really full square loin. Certainly hits the surface with plenty of foot and bone. Would like to maybe reconfigure the way he sets down on those rear two, get him out with a little bit more strength there off his rear pastern, but a really nice high quality market project for that individual. The one that I'm going to go ahead and leave second, and it honestly was a pretty close pair between these two belted goats here in the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the higher cutability option, which is this the one that I'm going to put second here. I think you get your hands on that one. That one's just a little bit firmer to the touch, still plenty expansive up high, just maybe doesn't have quite as much of a rib cage and as much dimension to the surface as the one ahead of him, but a really nice one to land second. And the one that follows in third, again, really similar to that one that's going to be second, but I just think a little bit softer to the touch, maybe pushing a little bit more finish than I'd like to see today. Just not quite as out there in the way that that one's put together in terms of his skeleton, but still really like that one as well. And then the one that's going to round out our class here, really high-performing, long-bodied weather that certainly has plenty of grow. Just get off either end of that one, starts to funnel up a little bit too much to the surface, a little bit frailer featured. Young lady's doing an excellent job getting that one exhibited. Let's give all these exhibitors a round of applause.
In the ring now will be Cora Rosentrader, Traven Shada, Brecken Doggett, and Lorena Shada.
nice set of market weathers here as we get into these heavier weights. And again, I think this one that wins does so pretty handily. That one walked in the ring, and I kind of saw how powerful that one is, and certainly was no disappointment when I got my hands on him. He's massive backed, really stout to the surface. Maybe not perfect in terms of a skeleton, but I think first and foremost, when you're evaluating market livestock, you got to think about muscle, and that one does so very well. Because the one that comes second, I actually really like in terms of his skeleton. He's built really well. He gets around the ring with a lot of flexibility. Just get off either end. Not as much substance there, not as much width and dimension. Get your hands on him, just not as expressive up high, but it's still a really nice one for that young lady to feed out. Similar story for the one here in third, because I think it was a close pair between those two. For me, the only difference in terms of the way I put those two out here is just when you get your hands on that one here, it just doesn't have as much expression up high, a little bit flatter in his full rib, funnels a little bit too much to the surface, just not as powerful as the ones ahead, but still a nice project for the young lady. And the one that's going to round out the class, I think, is super high performing. Again, really appreciate that one from a skeletal standpoint. Actually, incredibly stout-footed and stout-skulled. I think just when you get off either end, he funnels a little bit too much to the surface, just not enough substance there to compete, but still a really nice project for that young man. Let's give him a hand.
Up next in the market weathers for goats will be the 72 to 75 pound Keegan Wittoon with 0987, Traven Shada with 0016, Traven Shada with his other one, 0017, and Callie Harris with 6415.
As that next group of market weathers enters the show ring, we want to take a moment to thank Full Circle Irrigation for being a Purple Ribbon sponsor. With locations in Broken Bow and Litchfield, contact Todd Wardeen today at their office in Litchfield or Broken Bow for all your irrigation parts, technology, and service needs. They are your local Valley dealer. Thank you as well to Myers Iron Salvage and Roll-Offs. They can do it all. They offer optional roll-off containers and rural metal cleanup by bid process. They are open 6 days a week. Call Ironman Rod at 308-880-0309 or check out their website at myersironsalvage.com. Thank you as well to Adams Land and Cattle. From the feedlot to developing the industry's next major innovation, they are always looking for talented people and productive partnerships. Check out their website at adamslandandcattle.com for career opportunities. Again, this group is 72 to 75 pound market weathers. Kagan Wittoon, Traven Shada with 2 entries, and Callie Harris.
Well, I really appreciate this heavyweight class we've got here. 4 really nice entries. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the young lady here on my far right. I think that one is super, super cool in the way that he's put together. Really athletic, gets around the ring when he wants to, really flexible, and really appreciate his skeleton. Gets on top of that one, and he's super expressive up high, really bold in his rib cage, has plenty of dimension to his lower leg and twist. Really appreciate that one to go ahead and start. The one that's going to come second, I think just got outpowered. That one's built really, really well. Really appreciate his angles. Just think that he doesn't have as much substance. You step behind him, he gets a little bit flatter and narrower there. In his pin set, funnels a little bit too much to the surface, but still a really nice one to go second. The one that it comes in third, actually from the side, really like. I think he's super powerful, plenty deep-bodied and productive. Just again, when you step up either end of him, he's a little bit narrower in the way that he's constructed. Not as much product up high. Young man's doing a great job getting that one exhibited. And the one that's going to come in fourth, again, another really high-performing one that's long-bodied, big outline. Certainly think that one has plenty of room for feetability. Just step off either end, gets a little bit too narrow, funnels to the surface. Not as much substance to compete here in this class, but really nice one to finish out. Let's give them all a hand.
Okay, so that rounds out group number 3 of Market Weathers. Kagan Watoon in first place in that group. Callie Harris in second place for that group. Market Weathers group number 5 is going to be between 80 and 84 pounds. Mason Beamerwald, Cora Rosentrader with 2 entries, and Lorena Shada to round out the class. Again, after we wrap up Market Weathers, we will bring in the Market Does to compete against them to find overall and overall reserve champion Market. Then we'll go into the breeding doe classes, 2 different groups there. We'll determine a champion and a reserve champion there. And then we will wrap up for the day.
let's give these four a hand. They're all working really hard to get these goats worked out here. As the day wears on, they start to get awful tired and uncooperative, so they're doing an excellent job. But really, really nice pair to start this class. I think they're close and similar in their type and kind for me today. I'm gonna go ahead and sort up the one here to my far right, just in terms of an extra shot of power up high. Get my hands on that one. He's super expressive, and his rib cage certainly transitions back to a really full loin and a deep and expressive lower leg and twist. Still gets out with plenty of flexibility around the ring. That's nothing to take away from the one in second, because I think that one is super, super athletic out on the go. Gets around with a lot of feature, and I really appreciate the way that one ties out of the top side of his shoulder. I just think in terms of an extra shot of muscle, the one he gets outpowered by the one ahead of him, just not quite as expressive up high, maybe a little bit flatter in his full rib, a little bit more narrow in his base width. Now the one that's gonna come third, I think is super cool in the way that he's built, and his skeleton super level topped. Really appreciate that one in terms of his skeleton, just not as much substance there, get off either end, wants to funnel to the surface a little bit too much, not as much product up high. And the one that's gonna come fourth, I think actually is really long, deep bodied. Just from a skeleton standpoint, I can't stand behind the way that one comes out and dips in behind his shoulder and just doesn't get out and go with quite as much flexibility around the ring. Still a really nice project for the young lady. Let's give these four a round of applause.
Next in the arena will be the Market Weathers from 87 to 89 pounds. Lorena Shada, Mahia Jones, and Emerson Palmer. Lorena will have 0019, Mahia will have 22189, and Emerson with 2112.
And while the market weather class 87 to 89 pounds are making their way into the arena with these three goats, we want to take the time to thank Ashley Land and Recreational Brokers for their support of this goat show, this day 3 of our broadcast of the Custer County Fair. Ashley Land and Recreational Brokers are proud to be serving the Custer County area. Right now, land is moving at a high rate of speed. So if you are considering selling your land, now is the time. Contact John Farley with Lashley Land to find out what your land might be worth. Call him at 308-530-7854 or check out lashleyland.com. We will have 3 market weathers here that have made their way into the arena. And those belong to Lorena Shada, Mahia Jones, and Emerson Palmer. Judge Dilly now marching them around the arena once more to get a good look at all sides of these goats. Of course, right around the corner at the end of our broadcast is one of the most anticipated events of the Custer County Fair. It's, of course, the Best Dressed Kid competition. We've got 9 competitors this year. Should be awesome. You can already see a couple of the goats putting on their costumes, donning their finest for the competition. In the meantime, Judge Dilly here, looking at the right sides of the animals. And it looks like we may have a verdict here shortly as she makes her way to the microphone. I think it's going to be Mahia Jones. But we'll find out soon enough.
as we get into these heavier weights here. I think the one that's going to go ahead and start hit me pretty hard the second he hit the ring. Really, really expressive one that's super athletic in the way that he's put together. Certainly comes with plenty of muscle. You get your hands on that one. He's incredibly expressive, maintains that to the surface. Really appreciate that one that young lady brings to us to go ahead and start. The one that's going to come second, I think, is similar in terms of his power and substance, just not quite as trim in the way that he's finished out. I think he's got a little extra maturity on him, a little too soft to the handle, but still a really nice, powerful one to go ahead and land second. And the one that's going to come third, I think, has actually got the advantage in terms of cutability, certainly one that's plenty productive in terms of the way he's put together, and I think he gets out and goes with a lot of flexibility, really nice one that's built in terms of a skeletal standpoint, but I think, again, just step off either end, that one gets a little bit too flat in his full rib, funnels to the surface, but young lady's doing an excellent job getting that one exhibited. Let's give her a hand.
So there you have it. Mahia Jones takes first in the market weather, 87 to 89 pounds. Coming in second is Emerson Palmer there. So we will see Mahia return in the overall championship drive, which is just around the corner. But in the meantime, we've got a couple more classes to go, including the market weather 90 to 97 pound class, which features 2 entrants, and the 121 market weather class, which has a single entry.
Sorry for that little delay. We will need Mason Bremerwald with his 90 pounder, and Callie Harris with his 97 pounder in this next class. That will need to be, there was an error in your program there. So the 80 pounder got showed in the wrong class. 90 pounder got showed in the wrong class. So we'll rerun that class.
And we see our market weather 90 to 97 pound class enter the arena now. This class has 2 entrants, Mason Bimmerwald and Callie Harris. Mason brings us a 90 pound weather and Callie brings us a 97 pounder. We'll see what our judge makes of this pair here. And she sends them around the arena once more. Make sure she gets a good look at each of them. Stares them head on, now moves back around into the profile to get one final look at this pair of goats. Again, we have both ends of the class here with a 90 pounder and a 97 pounder. And it looks as though Dilly has made a decision. She has seen enough, and we will figure out the reasoning shortly.
2 really nice weathers here in this class, and I think they certainly set a standard in terms of muscle and power. But for me today, I'm going to go ahead and sort up this young man to my far right. I think that one just sets the standard in terms of being firm when I get my hands on him, really hard touching, certainly very expressive back to a really full loin, super dimensional in his lower leg, hits the surface with plenty of foot and bone. Really appreciate that one to go ahead and start. Nothing to take away from the red doe that's going to go second, because I think that one still is plenty powerful and heavy muscled, really bold ribbed. It's just for me, when you step behind that one, he wants to funnel into his pin set and just get a little bit too flat and narrow there in his lower leg and twist, but still a really nice pair. Let's give them a round of applause.
So there you have it. The 90 to 97 class is in the books. Mason Bimmerwald taking first, and Callie Harris taking the second place reserve honors. Now we will have somewhat of an odd class here, the 121 pound class, which features 1 entrant, and that is a goat belonging to Lainey Palmer of Sandhill Critters. And then after that, we will have your champion market weather and your reserve champion market weather decided. And following that, of course, the overall grand champion and the overall reserve champion for your goats. Market goats, that is. Coming up, we'll have the breeding doe class of less than 1 year of age, and then the breeding doe class of 1 year or older, and then the moment we've all been waiting for, the best dressed kid competition.
This class is our corrective class. Oh, the heavy. This will be the heavy. This will be Lainey Palmer with her 121 pound weather.
And there she goes, walking around the arena.
And market weight for us, ideally on this sale, is 50 to 100 pounds.
Pretty big goat. just because there are no other competitors in this class, that doesn't mean that Dilly does not want to provide some excellent feedback on this animal. It is a huge goat, 121 pounds, that Lainey Palmer has presented to the arena today. True heavyweight. And it looks like we're going to get a little bit of feedback here from the judge in just a moment.
But really nice weather here to finish out our market classes before we have our final rerun class there. But obviously this one's seen the feed pan for a while, but I do think he handles it quite well. He's a very large frame goat that I think handles his extra weight very well. He's certainly plenty expressive up high, really bold ribbed, and plenty big in his loin. He's a little soft to the touch given that extra finish on him there, but I still think he patterns out really nicely. Really excellent project for this young lady. Let's give her a hand.
So there you have it. Taking first in the 121-pound division of Market Weathers is Lainey Palmer with the sole entry of her 121-pound goat. We'll put everything together here for the final drive to determine the champion Market Weather.
This will be a
Goat.
corrected class of the 80 to 84-pound goats. Mason Grimmerwald should have number 0046. Cora should have a 0049. Cora should have a 1052. And Larina Shada should have 0018.
After that bit of correction here, we are going to revisit the 80 to 84-pound class from what it looks like, as we've had a slight change. And that would be Mason Beamerwald's goat entry of 0046. Everything else should remain the same. Of course, there is Mason in the near corner of your screen with the corrected goat. The other three, of course, are tailing behind him, making their way into this near corner of the arena to get Judge Dilly a first look at the goats standing still. And Judge Dilly is going to march them around the arena once more. Bemerwold leading the charge. Followed by two of Cora Rosentrader's goats. And bringing up the rear, or the tail, if you will, Larina Shada. Tough to manage. And we're starting to send them back now. Dilly now getting the up close and personal, giving it the personal touch here in the 80-84 pound division. Finding a closer look.
there in terms of which goats were in which class. So we're just going to go ahead and reevaluate this class with the correct goat, make sure we got everything square. And my decision ultimately didn't change in terms of the way I line them up past the goat that's going to go ahead and start. But I think, again, this one, young man brings us another really, really powerful one that comes with plenty of expression up high. Maybe not built in the most correct way in some areas. I think I would like to make him a little less round out of his hip, maybe pick him up in terms of his elevation up front just a little bit, but certainly think I'm going to go ahead and sort out that one's extra shot of muscle. And similar story for the three here at the end. We've already discussed them, but I can talk them briefly one more time because the one that I'm going to go ahead and leave second, again, really, really like that one from a skeletal standpoint. I think that one certainly outperforms my class winner, just not as much substance there, not as much power when I get my hands on that one, not quite as firm to the touch. And then again, my two here at the end, I think in terms of some skeletal differences, I really appreciate the black-headed wether there. I think he's built really well. Not as much substance as the two ahead of him. And then the one that's going to round out the class, like I said earlier, I just think from a skeleton standpoint, that one needs reconfigured in terms of his spine, maybe fix some things about his front end assembly. But really, really good class. Let's give him one more round of applause.
So there you have it, a revised class, but not a whole lot changes here in the 80 to 84 pounds. We've got Mason Beamerwald taking home first once more, and your reserve in that class will be Cora Rosentrader. Coming up now, we've got the Champion Market Weather Drive to determine our Market Weather Champion and Reserve Champion.
This next class will be
we get to that, we want to take the time to thank Moline Seed and Fence. Moline Seed and Fence serves farmers and ranchers by providing quality products at an affordable price. They are always looking for new products that will benefit farmers and ranchers. Their motto is simple. We operate out of our ranch to save your ranch money. Give them a call at 308-529-0781. One of our many terrific, tremendous sponsors of video coverage here on Day 3 and beyond of the 2023 Custer County Fair.
Weather, Hayden Christen, number 6421. Weather's 62 to 65 is Mahia, hold on here, Olivia Doggett and Mahia Jones. The next group of 1 and 2 is Brecken Doggett, the 66-pound group, and Lorena Shada with number 0021. And Keegan, let's see here, 72 to 75 is Keegan Watoon, and number 987, Param, however she wants them. And the 80 to 84 pound, Mason Bremerwald with 0046. And Cora Rosentrader with 0049. 87 to 89 should be Mahia Jones with 22,189. And Emerson Palmer with 21,12. A 90 to 97 should be Mason Bremerwald with 2169. Callie Harris with 6414. And Lainey Palmer with the 100-pound 2097.
So if you've been keeping track at home or tallying off, that's going to be an astounding 13 market weathers we're going to see return for the championship drive here. A lot of quality goats this afternoon. Again, we've got Olivia Doggett, Mahia Jones, Brecken Doggett, Lorena Shada, Kagan Watoon, Callie Harris, Mason Beamerwald, Cora Rosentrader, Mahia Jones once more, Emerson Palmer, Mason Beamerwald again, Callie Harris, and Lainey Palmer, all represented here with a chance to become the champion or reserve champion market weather for the 2023 Custer County Fair. We'll see if the ring is even big enough to let 13 goats march around. and it looks as though Judge Dilly's going to give it a shot anyway to see what happens. And the personal touch begins. Looks like we may get a verdict here from Judge Dilly relatively quickly. She's over talking to the judge's stand right now.
Well, first of all, please put your hands together for these exhibitors out here. Certainly took a good one to get out here in our Grand Market Drive, and I think a really good representation of what these goats should be looking like nowadays in the goat industry. And I think there's some differences in type and kind, and I apologize if some of my sorting didn't always follow an exact pattern, but what I did try to do was sort towards muscle today, and I think there's, 8 out here that really represent that well. But there's one for me that I'm gonna go ahead and use for my champion that I think couples muscle onto a really good skeleton, and I think it's hard to make a goat built like this. This one is super level spined, really cool fronted, super elevated, gets around in the ring with a lot of athleticism. Gonna be the one that I'm gonna go ahead and use. I'm gonna pick your grand and reevaluate for your reserve. But let's go ahead and put our hands together, and I'll go ahead and show you which one I like the best out here.
It's going to be Mahia Jones. Now for the reserve. Judge Dilly now taking her time as she reevaluates a reserve, wants to put the reserve champion against the field of its competitors instead of a field with the overall grand champion. And here we go.
You know, as it certainly gets a little bit closer here when I'm in terms of selecting my reserve champion, I think there's definitely some differences in terms of type and kind and directions I could go for your reserve champion. And I'm not going to tell you that the one I'm going to use necessarily matches my grand in terms of size or weight, but I do think he's the next best. I think he's the next most muscular in terms of how he handles up high, certainly gets around the ring with plenty of athleticism and look. But let's put our hands together one more time for these kids, and I'll get you a reserve champion.
And there's your reserve. It looks as though that will be Olivia Doggett taking home the reserve honors in the market weather class at your 2023 Custer County Fair.
Next class up will be the overall market goat, doe and wether. So if you could bring in your doe and wether champions in, that would be great.
Now for the big one. The overall market champion, which includes both does and wethers from all weight classes, the champions of those. So we'll be seeing...
Champion doe is Brecken. And reserve champion doe is Laney. And champion wether is Mahaya with and Olivia.
So we will have 2 Doggets, a Palmer, and a Jones here and decide an overall grand champion for market goats among them. That, of course, is Mahaya Jones, who we just saw win the market weather champion, and the reserve market weather champion, Olivia Doggett. The champion market doe belongs to Brecken Doggett, and the reserve champion market doe belongs to Laney Palmer. So we'll have 4 goats entering the ring, as we can see now, and they will start to make their way around. We've got them paired 4x4 here. And really only catch 2 from where we're sitting. But it looks as though Judge Dilly is moving them around. And we'll see if she lets them march. She does indeed. So they'll make their way around the arena here, and we may as well follow them. Judge Dilly now getting a good view of all sides. Big pressure decision now. She's got 4 of the best goats by her choice from these market goat divisions. And now she's got to pick which 2 are the absolute best of the best. And we may have some...
Well, please put your hands together for our grand market drive out here. Really nice set of animals to evaluate. I think these 4 are doing an excellent job getting these goats stuck. And, you know, it's fun to get the does back out here because there are some differences when you evaluate your females and your wethers together, just in terms of the way that they mature. They're a little bit different in that regard, and so I think some skeletal differences for me today. There's a pair of them that I think just soared up in terms of setting a standard for muscle, and incredibly shapely when you get your hands on them. Certainly built right. Going to go ahead and use those two to win. But before I do so, I just want to say thank you to Custer County for having me out to evaluate your goat show. We got a few more things here to do with the FFA show, but I just want to say that I think you have great kids out here. Everybody was incredibly respectful. I could tell each and every one of them was out here having a blast, and that's really what matters. I spent a great deal of time in the goat ring, and it's a very special place to be. And so kiddos, don't take it for granted. It goes by fast, and so cherish every moment that you have. But please put your hands together one more time for these kids, and I'll show you the Grand and Reserve.
Nice words there from Judge Dilly as she walks the microphone back up to the stand, and it looks as though she's going to name Mahia Jones as your champion and Olivia Doggett as your reserve champion. Excellent showing there.
No, she is not done judging yet. We have the market class of breeding does. We have some young ones, and then we have our older than 1-year-old ones. So we do have the breeding division of the market animals. We have Brecken Doggett with his breeding doe. These are kids. Brecken Doggett with 1376. Olivia Doggett with 1421. Colby Eggleston with 2171, Callie Harris with 6416, Mahia Jones with 23049, Mesa Jones with 23062, Quinn Rosentrader with 2 animals, 2175 and 1051. The class following this one will be the breeding market does. Breeding does of Mason Bermerwald with 2102 and Quinn Rosentrader with 1101. These will be over 1 year old.
And the market does, the breeding does, have made their way out into the ring. Judge Dilly giving them the up and down here, letting them march around. We've got 8, it looks like. 2 belong to Quinn Rosentrader. 1 to Brecken Doggett. 1 to Olivia Doggett. 1 to Colby Eggleston. Callie Harris has 1. And Mahia and Mesa Jones have 1 apiece. Of course, Mahia just coming off that overall champion, grand champion market title. So flying a little bit high here. We'll see what sort of fun is in store when it comes to the breeding does. These, of course, are less than 1 year of age. So the little guys, as you heard Tammy say. Judge Dilly now, perhaps coming close to a decision as she's made her rounds twice and she's letting them move around, bearing off the breeding does here, one by one. It looks as though she just set aside one of Rosentrader's. Just letting them move around a little bit, readjusting. Looks like there are 3 left up top that Judge Dilly is currently evaluating. At least one of them is Callie Harris's. It looks like another belongs to Mahia Jones. And the third, if memory serves, belongs to Mesa Jones. And now left up top here are the 2 Joneses, Mahia and Mesa, who've had a terrific outing this county fair, both in beef and now in goats, keeping up with the Joneses. It looks as though we will get a decision here from Judge Dilly as she makes her way back into the arena with the microphone, and we'll hear her thinking momentarily as she gets set to deliver her words.
About our doe class out here, but certainly not disappointed in terms of the quality. Really nice pair of does up here on top that I honestly had a hard time sorting through just because I really like a lot of things about both of them. Managed to find some differences though, and for me today I'm going to sort up the young lady to my right. I think that one just really sets a standard in terms of muscle in this doe deal, and we're thinking about making wethers. Boy, I'd be excited to see what she can produce. Nothing to take away from the one in second, though. I really like that one out on the move. She's built incredible. She's so flexible. Really appreciate the way she gets out and goes. Her angles are right. I think for me, she just gets a little bit flatter there in her full rib step behind her, just funnels a little bit more in her base width, but 2 really nice does to go ahead and start this class. And the one in third, the red doe there, I also really appreciate in terms of her brood doe character. I think she's plenty opened up, hits the surface on stout foot and bone, just maybe doesn't have quality as the ones ahead of her. I think that one just gets a little bit more common in the way she's built in her front end assembly, wants to run downhill a little bit for the young lady, but still a really nice one to land third. And again, the one in fourth, I think same thing, has plenty of brood doe character, really stout and opened up. Just gets a little bit round out of her hip, doesn't get around the ring with quite as much flexibility or athleticism. Still a really stout, deep-bodied one that I think that will do well for that young lady. The one that's going to come next, I think, has plenty of features, certainly really fresh-haired, maybe just a little bit more immature in this group particularly. I think she, down the road, will have plenty of room to grow. Just step off either end of that one and wants to narrow up a little bit in terms of her base width, just not as expressive up high. But I think she's built right and will certainly grow out to be one that will be plenty productive. The young lady that's going to come next, again, I think this one I really appreciate from a skeletal standpoint, super level topped. Certainly gets out and goes with plenty of flexibility around the ring. Just a little bit more ordinary from the side, a little bit plainer in the way that she's put together, just not as expressive or dimensional to the surface. And the 2 that are going to go ahead and run out the class, similar in their type and kind. I think they're certainly long-bodied ones that are high-performing and will prove to be productive down the road. Just step off either end. They just don't have as much substance, hit the surface on a little bit frailer of a foot. Still 2 really nice projects for the young ladies. Let's give them a round of applause.
So there you have it. Breeding doe class, less than 1 year of age. You will have Mahia Jones taking home first and Mesa Jones coming in second. We've got another class of breeding does yet, and this is the 1 year and older class, which will consist of 2 entries. Mason Beamerwald will return to the arena, as will Quinn Rosentrader, and then after those two, we will see them return with the Joneses to determine an overall breeding meat doe and reserve champion breeding meat doe goat.
We get two ready.
Now entering the ring, as we can see on the top left of the screen, is going to be the breeding doe class of 1 year and older. There are two competitors here, Mason Beamerwald and Quinn Rosentrader, as they make their way around the ring to give Judge Dilly a good look at all sides of these animals, including how they walk, how they carry themselves when walking. Looks as though she's asked them to stop there in the corner while she gets a look. Kind of evaluates here which will be first and which will be second. And of course we will see both of these goats, as well as both of the Joneses breeding goats, return to the arena to figure out the overall champion for the breeding meat doe. Looks like we have a decision here from Judge Dilly.
Excellent pair of yearling does here. I think two really, really high quality females that certainly will be proved to be very productive down the road. I'm going to go ahead and start with the painted up doe here on my right. I think that one you get on top of her. She's super, super bold ribbed, wedges back really well to an incredibly stout pin set and hits the surface on a lot of foot and bone. Really like the way that one profiles from the side. Nothing to take away from the young man's that I'm going to leave second, because I think that one is super long-bodied, really productive in the way that she's put together. Her angles read correct, just a little bit more ordinary in her front-end assembly. I'd like to tuck her up just a little bit more there in her chest floor, maybe tie her higher out of the top side of her shoulder. But I think a really high-quality set of does, and let's give these kids a hand.
So there you have it, the breeding doe class of 1 year and older First place will go to Quinn Rosentrader and second place to Mason Beamerwald. They will remain in the ring as we bring out both of the Joneses breeding does here. They are less than 1 year of age. That's Mesa and Mahaya, who took first and second from the first class of breeding does. And from these four, we will determine an overall breeding meet doe champion.
Doe drive. Let's give them a hand. Quality all the way through, honestly, and I think there's some differences in between our doe kids and our yearling does there, just in terms of the way they're put together and stoutness and power. But there are a pair of them that I think I'd be wrong if I didn't sort towards it, just in terms of an extra amount of quality. I think the way that they're built and just the way that they handle is next level. Certainly would be excited to see these two and what they can produce down the road. But really, again, a great breeding doe show. Let's put your hands together one more time, and I'll go ahead and get your grand and reserve.
And it's Mahaya Jones. Takes home another honor, and it'll be Mesa with the overall reserve. Good showing there from the Joneses here when it comes to goats. Both of their goats, of course, came from the less than 1 year breeding does. And rounding out the class there was Quinn Rosentrader and Mason Beamerwald. Of course, now we are preparing for the Best Dressed Kid competition, and following that, we will bring you FFA goat showmanship, FFA dairy goats, and FFA breeding goats.
Last class of our 4-H
FFA market goats.
Kid. So the animal is usually the dressed item, but sometimes the children dress up too. FFA show, we'll have a few classes right after us, and then we'll have our Pee-wee. as we're watching them get dressed or prepared to make their appearance. There's some red, white, and blue things in the crowd. There's some shiny tinsel things. There's a dinosaur. There's a little tutu over there. There's a variety of things coming through. We should have Mason Brimmerwong, Hayden Kristen, Brecken Doggett, Olivia Doggett, and Colby Eggleston, Quinn Rosentrader, and Cora Rosentrader. Oh, and that one I did not see. He's lost his pants. This is not X-rated. Oops. He's on
And in
the
they
other
come.
beach.
Looks like a pair of water wings here. A beach-going goat. Quite a smattering of goats here. You wouldn't recognize them as animals if you didn't know they were goats beforehand.
All right, well, as we're getting our final preparations here, we'll start on this end. What's your name?
Cora Rosentrader.
What are you and your goat dressed as?
A USA party person.
A USA what?
Party person.
Oh my goodness. That is impressive. How long did it take you to put that on?
Like 5 minutes.
Do you think your goat likes it or not so much?
Not so much.
Well, I like it. I think it looks pretty cool. Is your name? Let's give Cora a hand. What is your name?
Hayden,
Hayden, what is your goat dressed as?
a princess,
A princess. Princess of what?
just a princess.
Just a princess? I am very impressed that she is keeping that on her head. You guys all see this? Pretty impressive. Does she have a princess name?
Yeah, her name is Princess.
Makes sense. All right, well, let's give her a hand. What is your name? Colby. Colby, what are you and your goat dressed as?
This is a T-Rex, and this is my lunch.
You're gonna eat your goat? Here, let's turn it so everybody can see the sign. What does the sign say?
Jurassic Park property, T-Rex food.
We better hurry up and get you out of here so you don't eat your goat in the ring. Let's give her a round of applause. What is your name?
Olivia.
Olivia, what are you and your goat dressed as?
Michael Jordan, and he's a ref.
Oh my goodness. So, have you gotten mad at the ref yet?
And the ref's going mad at me.
Oh no. Has he thrown you out of the game?
He sat me on bench.
Sat you on the bench? That's not good. Well, I like your outfit. Do you think he likes his shirt very much?
I don't think he minds it.
Doesn't mind it? He seems like he's pretty happy. Good deal. Give her a round of applause. What is your name?
Quinn.
Quinn, what are you and goat dressed as?
Hi. Pirate.
Pirate? I love it. What does he got here in his halter?
Corn pipe.
Corn pipe. Do you think he likes smoking it? No? Well, that's an awesome costume. Let's give her a round of applause. What's your name?
Brecken.
Brecken, what are you and your goat dressed as?
Going to the beach.
You're going to the beach? Are you going to the beach in Nebraska? Where at?
Lake Makana.
Oh, you're going to a lake. Okay, that makes sense. Well, looks like your goat doesn't know how to swim, so he's got floaties on, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Well, at least he won't drown in the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's give her a round of applause. What is your name?
Mason.
Mason, what is your goat dressed as?
Going to the river.
Going to the river. Oh boy, we got some competition here. We're going to the beach and the river. And you very skillfully have a life vest on your goat so he doesn't drown in the water. That's good. What about the shades? You think he likes them?
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks pretty cool. All right, let's give him a round of applause. Well, from me, these guys are all for sure going to receive purple ribbons because I think they're doing an excellent job getting all these goats dressed up. And I don't think I would want to try to put outfits on a goat, personally. I think that might be a little bit of a rodeo. But what we're going to do is have them take one more lap, and then I've been told there's some crowd participation, and you guys will get to let us know which one you like the most by cheering when I call them out. So let's go ahead and take a lap, and then we'll do that. Start on this end. Let's hear it for our USA party person. How about our princess? You better cheer extra loud so she doesn't eat her goat. How about the T-Rex and her goat food? And the pirate with the corncob pipe. Now, I know there's got to be some basketball fans out here, so how about Michael Jordan and the referee? And we've got going to the beach. Not to forget going to the river. Awesome. Well, I think it was a pretty close race, but let's put our hands together one more time for these kids. They're doing an awesome job out here.
And we will do our Pee-wee lead if you guys have a goat that would lead after a bit here, so we can do a goat lead with non-4-H members or younger ones that can do that. So if your goat is able to be led very nicely with a helper. FFA, we'll move into the FFA goat division here. Showmanship was where we'll start at. Mesa Jones out of Ansley FFA. Lorena Shada out of Sargent, FFA, and Elizabeth Fetty out of Stapleton, FFA.
Three entries here in FFA Goat Showmanship: Mesa Jones, Lorena Shada, and Elizabeth Fetty. Just one group competing for champion and reserve champion before we move to dairy goats, then breeding, and then market goats. Thank you to Trotter Service and Trotter Fertilizer in Broken Bow. They want to thank everyone for their business at all of their surrounding Trotters locations. Whether you are visiting Trotter Service, Trotter Fertilizer, or one of their many Trotters Woe and Go locations, they have enjoyed serving you in Central Nebraska since 1962. Another one of our Purple Ribbon sponsors is the Grocery Cart in Broken Bow, where they love to help you with all of your grocery needs at the lowest prices.
Ladies doing a really great job out here in our FFA Showmanship division. I think there's some differences in terms of style and the way that these girls get out and move around their animals. For me today, there's one that surfaces. She hit me pretty intense when she hit the ring. Her eye contact is really good. Very smooth by the way she gets and sets that animal up and gets him stuck and leaves him there, doesn't fidget around, and makes him well presented at all times. The individual that I'm going to go ahead and use for reserve, I think, does so very well. Just maybe at times gets that goat a little too stretched out for my liking. Doesn't get quite as much brace out of that goat, but still does a really excellent job. Put your hands together, and I'll go show you the two that I like best for your grand and reserve.
Mesa Jones will be your champion. Again, no back tags, but I do recognize Mesa from earlier competition in 4-H. believe that was Lorena Shada as reserve.
Results of our FFA showmanship contest in the goat division. Receiving a purple ribbon was Elizabeth Fetty. Your reserve champion was Lorena Shada, and your champion FFA goat showman was Mesa Jones. Congratulations to all these exhibitors. Coming into the arena next is going to start up our Dairy Goat show. Single entry in class, Dairy Goat, under 5 months.
Under 5 months, Elizabeth Fetty, 1 single entry. Elizabeth will also have a non-milking entry. And then she will show both, and will determine which will be champion and which will be reserve champion. In breeding goats, Lorena Shada, same type of situation. She will be showing 2 in the same class. One of them will be champion, one will be reserve champion. And then we'll have a single entry for market goats to round things out today.
Excellent single entry for our doe kid class here in our FFA Dairy Show, and obviously not super thrilled to be away from her mom over there, but I think the young lady's doing an excellent job getting her presented. Really, really high quality doe kid, I think, lines out really well in terms of her angles, the way she's put together, certainly gets out around the ring really well. She's super feminine, has a lot of really good dairy attributes. She'll go ahead and receive a purple ribbon. Let's give her a hand.
Grocery cart has fresh groceries, produce, high-quality meat department, a full-service deli, fresh bakery and cake decorating, and the GK Wine and Spirits shop, as well as a health and beauty section and more. They're at 937 East Southeast Street in Broken Bow. Thank you as well to the Custer County Ag Society, welcoming you to the fair, urging you to go and take in the fun. They also want to encourage you to look at the calendar of events for the Custer County Fairgrounds as a whole throughout the year at custercountyfair.org. You don't want to miss out on any of the activities going on. The grocery cart and the Custer County Ag Society, both purple ribbon sponsors of our coverage for 2023. In the ring right now is Elizabeth Fetty again with her entry in class number 2 of dairy goats. And then both this goat and the previous one will come out and compete against each other to determine which is the champion and which is the reserve.
Doe character. She's really long-bodied, plenty deep flank, certainly has a lot of room to be productive. Really appreciate her when she gets out on the move. Her angles read correct. Maybe like to fix her front end assembly just a little bit there. She gets a little deep-chested. Maybe doesn't quite tie quite as high out of the top side of her shoulder as I'd like. Still a really nice exhibit for the young lady. Let's give her a hand.
In that last class of dairy goats, we had Elizabeth Fetty receiving a purple ribbon. In the arena now is our champion dairy goat drive.
Actually, don't even bring attention to it. Just let them notice it when you're driving to dinner. Purple ribbon has that old thing. That's not really a big deal, honestly. I guess I haven't had a chance to take it out of the car yet. You can just shove it in the back. I better go so I can see if he's still around. That is so cool. Yeah, I'm somewhat of a shepherd. I actually remember when it was like somewhat cool to have fuzzy dice hanging from your rear view mirror. Right, when did that go outside? I still think it did. Apparently it did, but of the 3 times I got pulled over when I was in high school, one of them was for having Dave and Buster's, they had no business being at the Shield. Personally, I thought he was going to pull up and score. Oh, man, actually.
Really, really nice set of does here to represent our dairy goat show here on the FFA side, and I think they both have pieces that you'd really, really like in a dairy goat. And for me, there's the doe kid is going to go ahead and be your champion. I think that one just lines out from a skeleton standpoint a little bit better. I really like the way she reads in her angles, gets around the ring with a lot of fluidity and flexibility, super feminine the way she's put together. I really appreciate her front end assembly. Nothing to take away from our reserve because she certainly is the powerhouse. A little bit more width and dimension there. Just for me, when she gets out on the move, she gets a little bit too deep in her chest, kind of coarse fronted, gets a little bit tucked under there in her hind rear too, but still really, really good set of does. Congratulations, these two.
Congratulations to the champion of our dairy goat show. Both your reserve and grand were exhibited by Elizabeth Fetty. In the arena now is our single class of breeding goats. Both were exhibited by Lorena Shada.
It was 2 weeks later, it was the same sheriff on the same road, driving along, I don't know how fast he was going. He was coming the opposite direction. And he turned on his lights, and we crossed each other when he had his lights on. He was up in his windshield, he was doing this. That's all I needed. I never sped on that road again. Man, after I was speeding 8 days after I got right. Seeing him shake his finger was like more intimidating than actually getting pulled over.
It's the recognition. It was like, I can't believe, like, I should have put the hammer down there first.
He was our school.
Oh, really?
So he just kind of controlled different roads and highways because kids were driving to school and they like seeing understand. That dude had a prime watching but he just chill and watch kids like they're crapping the school. Fist bump a bunch of kids all day long and get paid. Probably has a freaking pension.
Yeah, that's for sure. He's a cop. He's taken care of.
The cop to citizen ratio.
Well, no doubt a high quality set of does for our market or our meat goat side here in the FFA division, and I think there's two females out here that are different in their type and kind. One of them comes to us having had a kid before, and the other one is just a doe kid there that has not yet had a kid, and so I think there's some differences there. But for me, the red doe's gonna go ahead and be your champion. I think that one just speaks brood doe power. She's super, super opened up on top, hits the surface with a lot of dimension and feature. Certainly has a little bit more flesh on her given that she hasn't kidded yet, but still think that's a really nice one that's put together really well for the young lady. Nothing to take away from that dappled black doe that's gonna go second because I think that one lines out super cool and feminine from the side. For me, it's just stepping off either end, just not as much doe there, not as dimensional up high. Hits the surface on a frailer foot. Two really high quality females. Let's give these girls a hand.
Results of our breeding goat show. Both your champion and reserve champion were exhibited by Lorena Shada. Rolling into our final division in our FFA goat show today, we've got a single entry in our class of market goats, exhibited by Mesa Jones.
it's unfortunate there's no other market goats out here in this division, because I do think this one would have competed well against some other goats out here if there were a few more. But young lady's doing an excellent job getting this one presented. Super, super cool livestock, piece of livestock right here. He's very athletic in the way that he's built in terms of a skeleton. No disappointment when you get your hands on him. He's plenty dimensional up high. I think this one's got some room to grow, so I'd be excited to see how he feeds down the road if she hangs on to him. But really high quality entry for our market show, and she'll go ahead and be your champion. Congratulations.
It's like running away from a bear. Exactly. You don't have to be the fastest, you just have to be faster than the other guy.
Results of our market goat show. Our single entry was also our champion, exhibited by Mesa Jones. Congratulations to all of our FFA goat exhibitors today, and a big thank you to our judge.
If anyone would like to lead a goat in our Pee-wee thing, you sure can. We have a few over here yet, so if you have a little guy or an older person you want to put in that, you sure can help that do. So we can lead them around and check it out and pick a ribbon color. Come over to the show arena.
Like 3:15 in the morning. Cars out. All right. Which I didn't care about. I've been in college for a year and a half. You know, like, yeah, he's not stupid. In the hallowed ball.
Well, that wraps up our coverage for 2023. The first 3 days anyway. We have a extra day of coverage. We will be video streaming the livestock auction tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Make sure you tune in for that right here on Sand Hills Express on YouTube and Facebook. If you can't watch it and you want to listen, it will be streamed audio-wise on KCNI Pure Country. Again, to recap the FFA Goat Show real quick. Champion showman was Mesa Jones. Reserve champion was Lorena Shada. Champion dairy goat and reserve champion dairy goat, both by Elizabeth Fetty. Breeding goats, champion and reserve champion, both to Lorena Shada. And your champion market goat was Mesa Jones. There was no reserve champion market goat. Thank you to all of the Purple Ribbon sponsors. We'll give them another shout out, and we'll allow you folks to see all of our video streaming sponsors as we end our broadcast here today. Thank you to Custer Public Power District, Agri Affiliates, Full Circle Irrigation, Myers Iron Salvage and Roll-Offs, Adams Land and Cattle, Lashley Land and Recreational Brokers, Moline Seed and Fence, Trotter Service and Trotter Fertilizer, The Grocery Cart, the Custer County Ag Society, Pearson Physical Therapy, Nebraska State Bank, Healing Hearts and Families, and A1 Auto Repair. That does it for our coverage today. Have a great rest of your day. We will talk to you again tomorrow when we have coverage of the livestock auction right here at the show ring at the Custer County Fairgrounds.